Okay, hi everyone, welcome back to this video series on introductions to firewalls, chapter 13, using Windows as a firewall. Over the years, the Windows operating system has grown by leaps and bounds. It now does much more than provide just core functionality as an operating system. Buffs like to call it the kernel functionality. Entire applications are part of Windows now. The inseparable inclusion of Internet Explorer in the Windows operating system was even a reason for a major lawsuit against the software giant. However, one thing that can be considered a core functionality of an operating system is the provision of a solid security infrastructure. It is considered much better to let one dedicated party, such as the operating system itself, handle all the details of implementing security protocols and object access enforcement than it is to make each separate application responsible for handling this complex task. For secure internet access, this concept is taken one step further. Often a truly dedicated application such as the Firewall software handles all the packet inspection and housekeeping that comes with providing internet access. Yet the increased functionality is in more recent versions of Windows has also added many features that can be used to provide secure internet access. Windows XP, the latest version of Microsoft Windows desktop operating system, even includes a built-in internet connection firewall. Firewall function in Windows. Do you still need to buy a separate firewall product if you already have Windows running on your machines connecting to the internet? The answer, as always, when you want a straight answer, is it depends. Besides, the publisher wants you to read the other chapters in this book too. We're not allowed to say no here. An application that's dedicated to performing a specific task always does a better job than an operating system that's responsible for performing many tasks. For example, Windows comes with a built-in Windows comes with a built-in word processor named WordPad. Yet anyone who wants to do serious word processing installs another word processor such as Microsoft Word because a specialized program offers added functionality. The same principle also applies to the built-in firewall functionality. The newer versions of Windows have several features that are used in firewall products such as packet filtering. Each subsequent Windows version provides more configurable packet filtering capabilities. Windows 98 had none. Windows 98 Second Edition and Windows ME, however, both blocked net bias ports on the external interface. Windows NT 4.0 allows incoming traffic destined for the computer per individual port. Windows 2000 allows or blocked routed incoming and outgoing traffic based on port source address and destination address. You can configure Windows XP to block all incoming traffic on an internet connection. Finally, Windows Server 2003 extends this capability by blocking all incoming traffic when the computer is still initializing its network software at startup. Network address translation NATICS. The Windows 2000 server versions contain a flexible implementation of NAT, which is part of the routing and remote access service. Windows 2000 also contains a simplified and much less configurable service, Internet Connection Sharing ICS, which is already present in Windows 98 SE and Windows ME. Encrypted tunnel. All Windows computers can create a virtual private network VPN connection using PPTP or L2TP. The Windows Server versions can be endpoints for these VPN tunnels. Using these techniques, you can connect your Windows computers to the internet and be reasonably secure. Note, however, that many of the basic required functions of a true firewall are discussed in Chapter 3 and are not present. Here are some shortcomings of using Windows as a complete firewall solution. No stateful packet filters. Some of the packet filter options in the Windows versions use stateless packet filters. This means that returns ports greater than 1023 have to remain open constantly. Stateful packet filters are much more secure than stateless packet filters. The Internet Connection Firewall function uses stateful packet filters, no application proxies. Although packet filters inspect traffic arriving at the external interface, packet filters can inspect only the packet header. Application proxies can inspect the entire data portion of the packet. Filtering based on more than the packet header is not possible. Monitoring and logging. Because Windows doesn't have a dedicated firewall function, the monitoring and logging of packets arriving at the interfaces is rudimentary at best. Windows 98 computers can't log anything that may help detect problems, except for creating dump logs when an application crashes. Windows NT and Windows 2000 computers can report events in the event logs, but this capability doesn't compare to a true firewall log. Windows XP and Windows Server 2003 do feature a log file to report on the Internet Connection Firewall. No data caching. This is not strictly a security aspect, but data caching can be a function that a firewall product performs. Internet access for users on the internal firewall can be sped up considerably when the web proxy software can cache frequently requested web pages. Using Windows for internet access provides no option to perform any caching on returned web page data. No firewall mindset. Windows isn't designed to function as a firewall. This means that the IP implementation for the older Windows versions may contain flaws that render it unsuitable to be directly connected to a hostile environment such as the internet. Many of those weaknesses have since been addressed in hot fixes of service packs, but not until Windows NT 4.0 with the latest service pack and beyond does Windows have a strong enough IP stack to withstand common attacks from the internet. Even so, it's possible that a crash in the packet filtering software on the NAT process can leave the computer in a vulnerable state in which it will route every packet from the external network to the internal network unfiltered. With so many shortcomings in using Windows as a firewall, is it still safe to dial in or otherwise directly connected to the internet with a Windows computer? Here's the short answer. In our opinion, if you don't have a true firewall or if you don't have internet connection firewall enabled, you're asking for trouble. A few years ago, the answer was different at that time, but you could find some safety in numbers because many people connect to the internet. You could gain some protection just from the sheer total numbers of computers connected at any one time. Fish swimming in schools essentially used the same technique. Too many computers were dialed into the internet relatively unprotected to focus specific hacker attention on your single computer. The landscape is changing though. When people use techniques to keep them connected to the internet constantly, such as cable internet access or DSL, the likelihood of a successful attack increases. Not only will your computers be exposed to the internet for a longer period of time, but the computer will most likely be using the same IP address for an extended time too. Furthermore, automated attacks that scan the entire IP range of an ISP for vulnerable targets are commonplace as well, and you can clearly see that the odds are changing in favor of the bad guys. The protection provided by the safety in numbers approach has essentially disappeared. With this warning out of the way, it is still worthwhile to look at how you can protect your connection to the internet by using only built-in Windows functionality. This chapter provides you with enough information to decide whether you're using Windows as a firewall will provide enough security in your situation. So I'm going to leave it here to Stephen for this video. If you like listening, please consider like, sharing and subscribing. Thank you.